I'd like everyone just to witness toy there, toy, 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 and yet he's over here begging for the one in the crate because just none of the others are good enough. Oh my gosh. Let's go home and test out and see if this actually freaking works. So I've got a little tip on how to turn an English bridle bitless. You can buy this hardware at any home improvement store. You attach the piece that's supposed to attach to the bit to the nose piece, and then loop the O through, and it becomes a bitless bridle, and it works really well, and it's super cheap. Oh my god. Oh, okay, hang on, you fell there for a second. You see that though? I want to freaking do that. I want to see if I could get that to work, because that would be a killer game changer for all us normies out here in the world that can't afford to buy a bunch of different bitless bridles. That like if we can take a regular bridle and make it into bitless, that would be freaking dope. The only, oh my god, why is the world always so bright? The only thing is with this little Facebook hack is that I actually already tried this 2 days ago, and to say it went poorly would be an understatement. So I put the cheek pieces in front of the noseband strap, but that looks really close to her eye. Like that is literally right in her eye, so that's not gonna work. I'm gonna have to move this and put it behind this strap. Clearly when it was in front of her noseband strap, it put this cheek piece in her eye. But now behind the noseband strap, any pressure on this just slides it back. God dang it, Fletch. Hey, hey, look, wait for 2 seconds. A noseband might be too hot. Actually, I don't freaking know. It'd be really cool if this wasn't happening.
Start to let go, take a night off and let yourself go a little crazy. Crazy, crazy. Release your control, let your body go a little crazy. Just crazy, crazy.
So it's a no from us on the Facebook trend worked. It did not work. She was not happy in it. She actually, I didn't have the camera facing that way, but she did like a cow kick one time, which she has never, ever done once under saddle. So I imagine it was putting pressure somewhere on sensitive tissue and nerves, and she just couldn't handle it, couldn't take it. Because I think my setup was a little bit wrong, and it really all just kind of fell to shit. And in the 10 years that I've owned Trin, got her as an unstarted 8-year-old, never once has she cow kicked under saddle, whether she was like being lunged on the surcingle, on like being ridden bareback. Never cow kicked under saddle. She's bucked, sure. She's cow kicked in the pasture with other horses, but like those two actions have never once happened simultaneously where I'm riding her and she's cow kicked. And yet when I tried this out 2 days ago, she totally cow kicked, and I was like, oh wow, that was an alarming reaction, and we quickly called it quits because obviously that was like a huge red flag. She doesn't like this, as well as like she couldn't stop flipping her head, shaking her head, trying to, you know, relieve pressure that it was causing. But the thing is, I think my setup was wrong, right? Ooh, oh, oh, balance is key. Here. I got it. This was the setup I used the other day, and I think it was a little off, to say the least. For one, I used a wider noseband because I had it in my head that like, it's wider, it'll disperse pressure better. It didn't, so that was disappointing on like all fronts. And then I also used regular reins, which in the Facebook video, she uses clip-on reins. And I think the combination of the wider noseband with the regular reins meant that anytime I applied tension to the reins, the little circle, like, oh, it's not gonna do it now. The little circle just went and flashed everybody. And the whole time I was riding her, the circle was flipped up like this. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to flip back down or stay down. On top of that, this bridle doesn't have an independent noseband. So to get the cheek pieces and the noseband to be at the relatively same height so I could attach the little loop-de-loop, my noseband had to be a little bit higher than it regularly is. And I think that in combination with having to tighten the noseband a little bit more than regular to make sure like it didn't twist into her face, I think a lot of pressure was being put on the sensitive bone structure in her dome, and she just got aggravated real quick with it. I went back to the drawing board, rewatched the Facebook video, and I was like, okay, I can see where I went wrong now. So I made a new setup. Should have grabbed that when I was over there. BRB. Nailed it. I put together a new setup that mimics the Facebook video way more closely. So my bridle now that I'm using has a way thinner noseband, as well as I put clip-on reins onto the loops. So hopefully whenever I apply tension, the little circle isn't gonna, you know, flash the world its underside. And we'll see how this works, right? Because the lady in the video says it works really well, and it sounds like she's used it more than one time. So I don't understand why I wouldn't be able to get it to work for myself, right? Right. Which, on this note, with this bridle in hand, we're gonna go ride Trin and see. I say we are not. Me am. Me is. Whoo, grammar just went out the window. I am going to go ride Trin. I think maybe where I was going wrong and misstepping in the past was that I was just kind of putting this bridle on right from the get-go and not warming her up in her bridle that she's used to and letting her like relax and get comfortable in that. So today we're gonna warm up first in her Micklum, and then once she's warmed up, I'll put this bad boy on. We'll see how the cookie crumbles. If it goes well, if it doesn't, fingers crossed it freaking does, right? All right, let's go ride a pony. Just think about it, she wakes up looking that good all the time. She was born that cute, stay that cute. She is, oh, I just got drool on my face. We're starting out in our Micklum, as you can clearly see. I'm gonna warm her up first in that way we have like a good foundation moving forward. We'll do that, and then hopefully switch over to our bitless option, and fingers crossed it freaking works. Some really good work in this. Now we're going to change it out for our bitless. Come with me, child. Come with me. Come hither now. All right, fair enough. Out here. It's cold. It's not warm. I'm frustrated. I wanted that to work out so badly, and I don't think it did. So give me a second. I don't think this is the setup for us. I don't think I will ride in this again. It just didn't work for Trin. I mean, this honestly was so far probably the one that she was the most consistent going in and seemed to have the best results, even though they still weren't good results. She didn't cow kick in this setup, so hey, that's a win for us. We didn't run into a tree, so you know, I count that as like another win, but she didn't really settle into it. She was still really inconsistent and flipping her head constantly. I could feel as soon as I started to apply any pressure to it or use any rein cues, rein aids, I could feel her muscles in her back start tensing up, and she would really shorten her stride and just kind of changed how she was moving. And I think part of that is just because of how it was acting on her face. And I had the noseband a little bit looser than I probably have with any of the other ones, but with that, it meant that the cheek pieces were rotating constantly into her eyes, which really freaking sucked. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm at a loss because this didn't work. The Nolanta bridle, which was this one, the Nolanta bridle, which we tried out a few weeks ago, also didn't work. To get it to fit properly, you have to tighten the noseband a little bit past the typical measurement that you adjust nosebands to, which is like you use 2 fingers to measure it and you have to tighten it a little bit past that 2-finger measurement, which Trin is not a fan of. And then on top of that is like the wheel style bitless bridle is similar to that of the flower style, which they're just really mild hackmores. Like they still, with this chin strap, mimic the motion and the action of a hackmore. Even though it's like crazy mild, it still mimics that. And where some bridles, you can flip the reins and the chin strap to kind of remove that bite that the chin strap has. With the way the Nolanta one is set up, is that the chin strap is sewn on, so you can't flip that, so you can never get rid of that, the bite that the chin strap has. And Trin just can't take this one. She absolutely loses her mind, gets so frazzled. This bridle, I don't know exactly what it was she didn't like. I think maybe somewhere where the metal rings were coming into contact with her face. I'm guessing they might have been putting pressure against the sensitive bone structure in her face, as well as like putting pressure on sensitive nerves and tissues. That was just really bugging her, and she would prefer her Micklum with the bit over either of these 2 setups. Though I'm not cutting my losses here, right? I'm gonna drag you sad suckers along on my bitless journey because I've done so much research into this. If you're interested in like what I found out, what me and my sister have figured out about it, you can go listen to my podcast, which is In the Barn, and we have 3 different episodes where we looked at all the research behind bits versus bitless, how bitless affects your horse's facial structure because obviously it's functioning strictly off their nose, versus how bits affect our horse's respiratory system because you got a piece of metal in their mouth and like they can't breathe normally. We've looked into that, discussed the different research, Dr. Cook's research. We've gone past his research, obviously, so we're not just solely listening to his biases. So like, I'm really invested in trying to figure out if I can get a bitless option to work for me and my horse. That way I have that choice to incorporate in our training regimen. So far though, the Nolanta bridle is a negative. The Facebook hack bridle, also a negative. I've read everyone's comments on the last videos. A lot of people are recommending the Transcend bridle. I am doing some research and looking into that, kind of trying to figure out what my next step is, what the next, I don't know, like what our next avenue of choice is to try to figure out if we can get bitless to work for us. I think I'm going to try to get my hands on the Karen Rolfe Dressage Naturally bitless halter. I don't know if that's its full name or the technical name at all for it, but that's the one I think I'm going to try and get my hands on next because it has a little bit different setup than all of these bridles combined, where you don't have to tighten the noseband really to get the bitless bridle effect and to keep it from sliding into your horse's eyes. So I'm super interested, intrigued, want to try that one out. And I don't want to just cut my losses here because I don't want to just, you know, try 2 options and be like, oh, bitless doesn't work for my horse. Because what if there is an option out there that works for her? What if there is an option other than our freaking halter that like we can try and use? And I don't know, it's just kind of fun to figure out, you know, what works for my horse. And so I'm having fun trying to figure this out. I just wish I could figure it out a little bit quicker. So I guess on that note, I should thank you all for watching and recommend you to hit the unsubscribe button. That way you will never have to see another video from me in the future. All right, oh! I forgot that the pads ended before the stool went, or after the stool. My gosh, I have the coordination of a small Muppet. Have a good day. Blue da boo dee na boo na boo dee na boo da boo. I can do the wave with my arms.